The Canadian government has raised concerns about the alleged role of a foreign government in the murder of Canadian Sikh leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar. And it's understood that some of the information they relied upon, critical information, was shared as part of the Five Eyes partnership. Was that information shared with Australia?
You'd appreciate I don't talk about what my partners share with us in general, but yes, I was aware of that matter.
And it's an extraordinary, serious concern to have a foreign government involved in the murder of any citizen in their country, a very serious concern. And I assume you'd agree, this falls within that category of very serious concerns?
Definitely agree with that.
And indeed, I think you were quoted of saying that there's no doubt any allegation of any country being accused of carrying out an execution of a citizen in that country. It's a serious allegation and something that we don't do and something that nations should not do. That sounds like an accurate summary. And you were asked, I think, about ASIO's understanding of the validity of the concerns raised by the Canadian government. And the quote that's given is that you had no reason to dispute what the Canadian government has said in this matter.
That's correct.
Has the Australian government raised any concerns that you're aware of with the Indian government over this incident?
Senator, I don't think that's for me to comment on.
Does ASIO have any reason to fear that potential threats of this nature may occur in Australia?
Thank you, Senator. Not at this point in time, but of course we're informed by what happens in the world and what we'll learn about what other governments may or may not be capable of doing, and we have partnerships with many countries, not just Five Eyes, and we take that into consideration, and we look at our own domestic situation and whether or not this may play out in our country, and we're alert to that. And as you're aware, last year, as the Minister announced, we saw another foreign government, in this case Iran, putting Australian citizens under surveillance, and we dealt with that quickly. And of course we and the Federal Police and State and Territory partners would deal with that quickly if we discovered such a plot.
Has there been any outreach between ASIO and the Sikh community in particular about the anxiety they're feeling following the incident in Canada?
So ASIO's engagement is for intelligence purposes. Yeah. The broader community engagement is done by Home Affairs, but I'm aware of how members of the Australian diaspora communities and that community in particular feels about this subject, yes.
Yeah, and those concerns have been raised with my office, and I'm sure I'm not the only office where those concerns have been raised. What's the level of concern that ASIO has picked up amongst the Sikh community, and is there validity to the concern?
Validity, not in the sense that there's going to be a sanctioned hit against any of them. Of course, we're not all seeing and all knowing, but I get the concern. But we do not have the intelligence at this point to suggest that is a concern here in Australia at this point in time. And
I'm not trying to go back and unpick your earlier statement about not disclosing Five Eyes evidence that was shared. But I might ask you this. Was there any suggestion that that evidence linked to countries other than Canada?
I wouldn't comment on that other than to say, of course, we look at every example that we're aware of, and always context matters in these cases. We have to take that into consideration, but our assessment is we do not believe that this will happen here in Australia. Is it possible? Yes. Do we have information to suggest it is going to happen? Not right now.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Burgess.